How we doing, friends? Um, Today I want to talk about a topic that affects every human being on this planet. It's the prescribing of pharmaceutical drugs. Over the last 30 to 40 years, this problem has turned into a worldwide epidemic um, that mostly influences North Americans. Um, One of the biggest things that rubs me the wrong way is the overprescription or prescribing of pharmaceuticals to children in our schools. Um, Actually, in 1965, there was a law put in place for giving physicians the ability to label and drug school children. Um, it really took off in the 1980s when people started labeling kids ADD or ADHD. Um, they just started prescribing um, Ritalin to these kids, thinking that's going to help them out without long-term testing. Come to find out, these prescription drugs or prescription psychoactive drugs um, have a great impact on people's health. Not even people taking them, like we don't even know yet. I mean, um, the amount of Alzheimer's or amount of children need more autism these days is has skyrocketed, um, and science is figuring out that a lot of it has to do with medication that the parents have taken through their years. There's some 20 million school children worldwide that have said to been diagnosed with mental disorders that have required chemical um, restraint by powerful mind-altering drugs. Um, and I think it's all propaganda, really. You're talking about a $1 trillion a year industry. Um, I have a graph right here. I'm gonna take a look at it. It's pretty interesting. This right here shows the percentage of Americans that are on prescription medication, starting with women. In 2001, it was 24%. It jumped up 2% in 10 years. Men jumped up 3% in a decade. Boys 1% in a decade, and girls jumped up 2% in a decade. This other chart just shows how big of an industry the pharmaceutical industry really is. And these are in billions, gross billions in a year. Johnson and Johnson at the top at $16.3 billion a year, and the list just goes on. So it's a very very lucrative business. But at the same time, I really feel like it needs to be regulated the right way so that we can keep our kids and our Americans safe. Um, in 1987, 500,000 children were medicated for ADHD. In 1997, 4.4 million kids were diagnosed and medicated for ADHD. In 1999, 6 million children were diagnosed. 2015, 20 million cases of mental disorders in children under the age of 17. Today alone, there's 2.1 million children in the U.S. Um, prescribed Ritalin. Um, what scares me with this is we really don't know the long-term effects. Another thing it makes me think about is all the past since I graduated in 2005. I remember when the Columbine incident happened. Um, you might not know this, but those kids that committed that massacre in Colorado, um, they were on Prozac and Zoloft. So I mean, these drugs, they're supposed to be helping us, but they're turning us into zombies and altering our minds. Um, I read an article that said a lot of these prescription drugs actually make the problem worse. I know my mom, she she's diagnosed with hyperactive and bipolar disorder. Um, but the doctors recently realized that it was due to overprescription of medication. I think they had her on like 4 different antidepressants at one time. It's absolutely out of control, and you don't know. You don't know. You take all these different medications. I mean, how do the doctors know? They don't. Um, they can't find a problem. They can't send you a bill. So I think that we should be very mindful of what we're putting into our bodies, and we need to regulate the hell out of these guys. Because I mean, they need to be responsible. I mean, it's a $1 trillion a year industry. Um, it's kind of overwhelming, really, because with so much money, like how do you confront something like that? Um, I don't even know. I don't have an answer to that. I think regulating the procedures and how long it takes them to do their study trials. That would definitely be a start. And, thanks for listening, guys.